streaming, and I should see myself on my computer here in a second. Hello, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I am a husband of a scientist. It is 6:01 p.m. on Friday, March 7th, and life is good. And I should see myself. It's about a 10-second delay between the time uh, I say this and it appears on the screen, apparently. I do answer every question, and my lives are extremely random. So if you want to know when I go live, the best way to figure it out is to use the notification bell feature of YouTube. I get it can be annoying because you get notified randomly all the time from other videos, but myself, I typically only put out 1 to 2 videos a week and go live like once a week. So for me, you'll get 3 notifications. Good evening, Derek, Alex, and Mr. Lafferty. And G-Man's Airspace. So today is a great day. I did go get my FAA medical today, and I'm happy to say I have been cleared to fly for 6 more months. I'll probably make a video about getting an FAA medical because lots of people ask questions about what is it like to get an FAA medical. And I've been getting medicals now for, it's 2025, 19 years. And I think I've had 22 medicals because I used to get them once a year until I turned 40 and became a captain at my regional. And then uh, I had to get them twice a year. So actually, you know what? I think I only got them once a year because even when I was a captain, I just turned 40 because I got hired here when I was 40. Anyways, I have a medical video coming up. San Paulo layover. Nice. Where do you see yourself in about 10 years? Good question, Mr. Freeman. So 10 years from now, I'll have about 7 years left in the industry because I'm turning 48 here this month. Um, I will probably be a narrow body captain, and I'll be eyeing the wide body captain slots. Now, many people tell me, Darren, you're never gonna leave the wide body until you can hold wide body captain because it's like driving a Mercedes S class as far as the wide body life goes. It's a very big, and it's not just the airplane; it's the lifestyle that a wide body pilot leads, right? So it's like going from an S class Mercedes and then going back to narrow body world, and narrow body world is a Toyota Camry. Nothing wrong with a Toyota Camry, but a Toyota Camry is not a S class Mercedes. So people tell me I'm not gonna go back to the narrow body. I think I will. I think I will. So we'll see. I gotta turn something on real quick. There we go. Save. YouTube is really picky on how I do like live broadcasts. So 10 years from now, I'll be an airbody captain waiting to go to wide body captain. Having a great day. Got my medical today. It is a great day. What's up, Darren? Currently at a hotel in Dallas for a 320 type rating course. Any advice? If you're doing a full type rating course versus like ATP, CTP, if you're doing a full type rating course, when you first go into the sim, they're going to tell you, okay, now go ahead and get your armrest set up. And you're going to like, okay, armrest is good. You need to spend like 2 or 3 minutes with your right, okay, I'm assuming it'll be an FO, with your right armrest on the Airbus to make sure it's in a proper position. Because the Airbus, of course, is fly by wire, it's a side stick. And if your armrest is the wrong position, you will over control the aircraft. You want it to be, well, for me, and what I was told, to be level with the side stick. And so you're just tapping, and you can really fly the Airbus with just 2 fingers. It's just small motions. That's what I was told. When I flew the Airbus, I got big old hands. I would grab that whole side stick, but even then, it's tap. And if your elbow's too high, you will tend to, you could introduce unneeded movements by your elbow being at a wrong angle. So spend time with the armrest, get the good armrest angle, and then make sure you know how to run ECAMs in the Airbus. It's a different way of running checklists, but it is a very good system to have. Do you want your kids to go into aviation? Not really. Um, they don't have any desire to go into aviation personally, and yeah, no. I'm on 19, but I still stress for each medical. I imagine the anxiety never goes away. It never goes away, Nick. Never goes away, and especially as you get older. Because again, I've lost a lot of weight over the last year. I'm down about 65 pounds since when I this time last year. So my health has gotten better in some ways. But then here I went to my doctor yesterday, my personal doctor. He's like, "All right, Darren, you're getting closer to 50." So, and he gave me a new medication. I'm like, all right. So now I'm only on I'm on two different medications now, plus my semaglutide, plus my seasonal. I'm on four medications for allergies as well. So, going to the FAA doctor, I had a list of new medication down. It's like, all right, here we go. So, but yeah, getting my medical, it never, the stress never goes away. Thank you, early birthday. When do you think you'll go back to the nerd body? Whenever I can hold 3-day trips as a captain on it, so probably 2 or 3 years from now. You want to do domestic on the nerd body or international? International by far. I sincerely miss doing my island flying. So if you followed me on TikTok previously, when I was on the Airbus, I've been to the islands all winter long. All winter long, I'll be going to Aruba, St. Martin, St. Thomas, Bermuda, any of the saints. I would go to Costa Maya. I'll go to Cancun, and then the name Haiti, and then there's a other side of Haiti is a place where everybody goes for vacation. Anyway, the Dominican Republic as well during the summer. I mean, during the winter breaks. And right now on the 777, there's nowhere I can go warm except for Hawaii, and those trips don't pay very much. So I missed my nearby island flying. You ever thought about doing a subscriber meetup in Dallas, Mister Hey Good? I have. I'm gonna I'm gonna pencil in to do one. It'll probably be on a Saturday morning, and I'm betting I'm just gonna do it somewhere like Founders Plaza at DFW Airport. Somewhere nice, public, and open, because most people are fine, but some people are weird. Went 2 weeks ago to get my first class medical and had to defer it. So now it's just a sit and patiently and wait. And Mr. Eaglin, yeah. And unfortunately, I'm sure you know, it is a very much so a wait thing with the FAA. They don't rush for anything. And that's my biggest fear, right? You know, again, I work for an airline and we have a union, and part of my union has an aero medical department. So I did email them this week, said, hey, my doctor wants to put me on this new medication. What are the limits? What am I restricted to do with this new medication? And it's just a 48-hour no fly. So, but some medications are like a 7-day no fly, some are 30-day no fly, some of them you can't take at all. So when I went to my doctor, I had a list of medications, and I says, "Well, Darren, I'll put you on this medication." I went, "Hold on a second. Okay, yep, it's FAA approved," and I made sure that my union was approved as well. Any advice on how to master all of the weather stuff required for PPL? Mr. Moore, I wouldn't worry about mastering it. You should be familiar with it. Because again, with weather, it's not like a live or die thing, right? No, you have to understand how to read weather, interpret weather, but you don't have to like memorize anything. Every now and then I still see some weird two-letter code in the MEDAR sometimes. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? And I have to look it up. So I'd be familiar with it and know how to find the information you need as far as how to look up the different abbreviations that they use for the meters, but I wouldn't go about mastering it though. I love the Airbus compared to the Boeing. Me too. Do you use a VPN when you travel to other countries? I do. I use a VPN everywhere I go, actually. I use VPN even in the United States. It's very smart to do, especially in hotel rooms. Hey, no, it's doing fairly well. Got my medical today. Do I get jet lag? I do get jet lag. And I've tried two different ways of dealing with jet lag. One of them is to always stay on home base time. So if it's 6 p.m. in Dallas and I'm in London and it's 2 in the morning there, then I'm up, right? And so, the sleep when you're to be sleeping at home and be awake when you're supposed to be awake at home. So like I've flown pilots that will be up at 2 in the morning in London because they're supposed to be awake right now from where they're based at. I tried that approach. It didn't work for me. For me, especially when I go to Europe, whenever we arrive, I take a 2-hour nap, period, at the hotel. No going away from that. I'll wake up and it's around noon. I go about my day for about 6-7 hours, walk 3 or 4 miles, and then I'll go back to bed again. And that's what I normally do. And I go to bed at London time to wake up in the morning at London time. And then I have a 10-hour flight back. I get back to Dallas. I have some naps on the flight. I get back to Dallas in the afternoon. And I do my best to stay awake until my normal bedtime. You are looking great. I lost weight via semi-glutide. We're going back to everybody means Charlotte. Kyle, it does mean Charlotte, and I'm gonna look it up. I think my last Airbus flight was the second week of March last year. So and that was from Charlotte. My very last flight on the Airbus was Charlotte to Dallas, and it was a cluster of a flight. Weather. Coming into Dallas, I never made a video about this, but I had the footage. I had the footage. I still believe. I hope I have the footage. I changed computers. Yeah, it's on iCloud. Um, Crazy weather. There's crazy weather coming into Dallas. My last flight on the Airbus. Dumb question, but does turbulence ever get really bad in the cockpit where you can't use the flight controls or slip out of your hands? Drew, it's not a dumb question. So when we're in bad turbulence, believe it or not, it is safer to have the autopilot fly than us. I only have had one situation in my entire career where the autopilot kicked off because of turbulence. It was because I was on the Embraer 145. We flew through a very benign looking cloud and we just hit a big whack, pretty hard, like going over a speed bump at 50 miles an hour. The autopilot disconnected when it wouldn't reconnect. But otherwise, in turbulence, it's safer to leave the autopilot on than us fly it. Now, many of us will turn off the auto throttles, and because sometimes we can manage the thrust better than the auto throttles can, but our thrust can. But most of the time, we leave the autopilot on. But it does get bad in the cockpit sometimes, where I can't really read the instruments anymore. It's very uncomfortable. But again, turbulence is more uncomfortable than it is unsafe. Turbulence is more uncomfortable than it is unsafe. Turbulence makes my dad gut shake, right? Makes my dad gut shake. So I can't drink my coffee, but it's not unsafe. The airplane can take way more turbulence than you can ever imagine. The airplane can take way more turbulence than you can ever imagine. In my 17 years of being an airline pilot, I have never hit severe turbulence. I've had it bad. I've been like, do you think Velo is crazy for our smart pronouncer service to DFW from New Haven, Connecticut? I don't, that's outside my wheelhouse. Just joined, and you may have answered this already, but how's Rivian? Hey, Mr. Montero. So I've only put on 45 miles on my Rivian. Now, coming up soon, we're taking a good road trip. And I'm working on a video that will be like an hour long. It's going to cover my Tesla Model X, my Rivian R1S, and my house. And all of our solar and backup batteries and how we save money. But I'll let you know about the Rivian in a couple days. So far, it's nice. I do have a service visit scheduled though because the center USB ports don't work, and I can't use my dang dash cam with that feature either, not working. Hey Darren, what did you do for time building to get to the airlines? JDW04, I was a CFI, but I was hired a long time ago. I am old. Back in my day, when I got hired by my first airline, you only had to have a commercial multi-instrument rating. That's it. There was no hour requirement. My first airline hired me with 542 hours total time. Of that 542, I had over 440 hours in multi-engine time. ATP. From Brazil, when are you coming to, I can't pronounce that word. Good question. I don't like flying to South America because it has double all-nighters. I'm sure I will eventually. Can you explain the 777 trim system? Well, I mean, it has the the two trim switches like most aircraft have two trim switches. It's fly by wire, so you're moving the whole elevator up and down. Oh, you're moving the front of the elevator. Sorry, front of the elevator to change the trim system, but it's not auto trim, so it is a manual trimming system. There is no trim wheel to use. We just have a little scale we can see. We have backup trim switches in case the ones on our thumbs fail. From what I've noticed, though, it lags more than like the MD-80 did. The MD-80 was a more direct trim system. You're trimming tabs. It's a whole different story. But even on the 145 and CRJ, I felt the trim system was faster than on the 777. The 777, I trim and I wait and I see what I got. La 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 la. Oh, sorry, I missed it. On the 777 behind you, why does one wing not have a winglet? Another one is the winglet missing behind me because it's an AI generated airplane, I think, or it's in maintenance. This is a picture I got from my service I use for content. Can pilot swap roles after you board, like FB to FO? Extremely uncommon, and I've never seen it happen. Hey kiddo, what are you doing?
Can I watch TV here?
Yes. Hey Google, turn on the game room light. Hey Darren, I just watched your new video, kind of confused about what is a relief pilot and the responsibility. Well, do some prefer it and why? So, Mr. McNeese, good question. What is a relief pilot? So, if a flight is more than 9 hours long, we need another pilot, right? Because you can't fly more than 9 hours as a pilot. You can't be scheduled to fly more than 9 hours as a pilot. So, a flight to Korea is 15 hours long. Now, if we had just one relief pilot on board, we would still be flying more than 9 hours per pilot. Because even if one pilot flew for 9 hours and a relief pilot sat there, well, the other pilots are still flying for more than 9 hours, right? So relief pilots fill in for the flying pilots while they go take a break. So on a 15-hour flight, we each set of pilots, we work together, fly about 7.5 hours each. So the captain and FO, who are the flying pilots, will do the takeoff and landing. They'll take off, they fly for a couple hours, and while they're flying, after takeoff, the relief pilots go on break and sleep, rest, watch movies, whatever they want to do. Then after so many hours, they come up and then sit in the captain and FO seat. The captain and FO go back, take a break, sleep, watch movies, whatever they want to do, and just go back and forth. So as a relief pilot, I might sit in the captain's seat. I might sit in the first officer seat. And when I'm in the captain's seat, 99.9% of the captains say, "You are in charge. Do what you need to do to handle the situation." Because in reality, on these long haul flights, we're hours from any destination. So if we have to divert, and the captain's sleeping, and I'm in the captain's seat, I'm gonna start the diversion process, and I'll let him or her know at the appropriate time. Please, I'm in Africa and really want to be a pilot. I have gotten in the University of North Dakota with a different program. How do I go about it? Please, Edward, I know nothing about foreign students and foreign training. I know nothing about UND. I'm sorry I can't help you. Sorry to fly 777 or driving a car in Dallas. Ooh, driving a car in Dallas. People are horrible. 777 is very easy to fly. Sandy WS Morning from SWO. Any good dinner, Rex? T Mac. Hey, yeah, Hard 8 Barbecue. I'm guessing you're here for ATP CTP. Hard 8 Barbecue. If you still have time to go there, when you get there, you order with your eyes, meaning you walk in there and you order meat off the pit. And your eyes will order more food than your stomach can eat, but it's very good food. If you don't have a lot of money, just go there and get like a sandwich and a side and a drink. You'll be out for like $15, and you get free beans, all you can eat. And the beans are very good. Is there going to be a video about the new car? There will be, probably in the next week or two. Got my first class medical to see if I could pass, but I'm too old to start training. No, dude, Red Dragon, dude, you're 41. You have 16, no, 26, 25 years left. I'm bad at math. 24 years left. You got 24 years left. It takes you 3 years to get all your ratings in, right? Yeah, that means you still have 21 years. You can easily make it the main line and make the main line captain in that time frame. You have plenty of time. But very smart getting your medical first. Best trips to go and best paying trips on 777. The best is all what you see as the best, right? One man's trash, another man's treasure. Some pilots love day trips. They want to do, Dallas to Miami, back to they just want to do a Miami turn out of Dallas and go home every day. They have a very senior trip here, 3-pilot crew. It's a San Juan turn, 10 hours long, day trip. Pilots love being home every night. That's what they want to do. I would hate that personally. So it depends what you want to do. The best paying trips are the Korea flights. Captain, have you flown with another crew that got to the U.S. with an EB-2 visa? I have no idea. We haven't talked about that. Is 42 old start flight training? It is not. And Brooklyn's very own. You got plenty of time. I promise you. You got plenty of time to make it to the Matrix at 40 years old. Thank you for your openness about your pay breakdown. It makes the sweetness in a Seminole at 1,500 hours plus easier to handle. Island St. Thomas, Antigua, Dominican Republic, GA, and a 172 Seminole is a paperwork hell. I bet it is. Good Lord. Again, I make my videos, and I don't want to ever be that pilot that makes YouTube videos. It says, I made X much this year. Don, look at me. I mentioned my pay as an afterthought. I don't want to be that one. I don't want to ever appear to be a gloater. I present it as fact. But I do like St. Thomas. FA was awesome. 17 open seats at SWO, and as soon as we cleared, you let us go wherever we wanted to. Even though there's no service, went to a tour OSU Aviation. Awesome. That's Stillwater, Oklahoma. It took me a while to figure out what that identifier was. Never been there. Are there any aircraft in 777 or A320 family that have mechanical gremlins? I'm sure there are. I just started training for my private, and my CFI is fully booked. Should I fly with a different CFI next week, or do you think I'd be wasting money? If you have the chance to fly with a different CFI, as long as you can like interview them and make sure you like their teaching style, because they don't all teach the same, like teachers in grade school. But if you can find a CFI that you can agree with, that's no problem with that at all. I used NordVPN because it was cheap. But I need to switch because my subscription was like a 3-year subscription for like $25. I gotta find a new one soon. I have flown to Jamaica. What's the worst flight I've ever had? Was a 16.5-hour flight from Charleston, South Carolina to Dallas on the MD-80. Wow, YouTube lives are so much more popular than the Instagram and TikTok. They are. Which year did you go to doing AA? I was joining my airline here in 2017. I was 40 years old. Hey man, I'm a CFI. Love your videos. What are your thoughts on the Mustang Mach-E? Mustang Mach-E, Mr. Coates, is a solid EV. Solid EV. The early ones had issues where you couldn't floor it all the time. They had some thermal limiting issues, but if you're not a boy racer, a Mustang Mach-E base trim, solid EV. And of course, they all have tanked in value. And I would have no qualms about buying a 45,000 mile Mustang Mach-E because the warranty goes for a long time anyway. Do you have to be relief pilot? Do relief pilots have to be captains? No. Well, trained to be captains, no. But we all get the exact same training. The only things that captains get trained on that I don't get trained on are an Autoland. That's it. I had to taxi the airplane. I had to do everything else the captain did except for the Autoland. That's it. How many beds are there? There's 2. How do you share them on rotation? It gets complicated. Now, going to Europe, it's easy. We each get 1 break. Going to Asia, it's more complicated. Because those are typically the 200s. So if you want to use the bed twice, then you're taking your sheets with you, and you got to find somewhere for your sheets after you take a nap. What I typically do for Asia flights is I go to the seat for my first break and the bunk for my second break. So that way I'm only having to sleep in the bunk 1 time. Do you expect to pilot when you're in full IMC on approach, or only when they establish visual with the runway on a non-Cat 3 Autoland? 99.9% of the pilots will not turn the autopilot off at IMC on an approach. Why, Darren? Why? You have 12,000 hours of flight time. Why wouldn't you turn the autopilot off on IMC? Great question, Darren. There's 2 pilots up front. Pilot flying, pilot monitoring. When the automation is on, we both have a big sight picture of what's going on. The moment, if I'm pilot flying, the moment I turn the autopilot off, this person's job gets much, much more difficult. Because now we're in instrument conditions. They're having to look outside because it's their job on the approach. The non-flying pilots, is their job to look out and let me know what they see. As pilot flying, I'm supposed to be inside monitoring the instruments, right? So if I'm monitoring the instruments, they're looking outside. I turn the autopilot off, I'm still looking inside. They're having to look outside, look inside to make sure I'm doing the right thing, talk on the radio, and turn, put the flaps out, put the gear out, and everything else I ask them to do. When the automation is turned off, I can't touch anything but the yoke and the thrust levers. That's it. So with the automation off, this person's job gets much, much more difficult. So most people will not turn the autopilot off until we have contact with one of the required elements in sight to continue the descent below MDA or decision height or whatever. Yeah. So, what are your diversion airports usually in the middle of the Pacific? I don't get into that because that could get into security stuff. Sorry. Dude, I love Heart 8. Met a few airline guys there a few weeks ago. It's very good. Hey, Darren, we just got back from DC and we went to the Smithsonian at Dulles. It was so epic. It is. Aviator Chad, I took a day trip there one day. Flew into Dulles, took the bus over to the Udgar Hazy Center. Yeah, the Smithsonian at Dulles. Much better than the one in the National Mall. Hutchins Barbecue is better. Never been there. Heard about that place though. How often do you guys update your dispatch? Do you guys have to let them know every deviation ATG gives you? Yeah, we do. If we get a new direct, we have to let them know many, many times. Our dispatcher's on the ball. So, dang it. If we're doing a route like this and we get clear direct, by the time we hit execute, 2 minutes later, the dispatcher is sending us a whole new fuel log saying, "Hey, I see you got direct, and here you go." Or if the dispatcher can see that we're gonna get a whole new clearance en route, they'll send us the fuel log right away. And the fuel log is every single waypoint with the time and how much fuel we should have on board. So, did you hear about the conference Delta had about a month ago? Do you really believe they are coming out with wings that adjust based on the stages of flying? I have not seen that. Hey, Darren, in case of a real in-flight emergency, do you go ahead and summon the captain back to the cockpit? Or are you responsible for taking care of the aircraft until his time is up? So his or her time is up. It depends on the emergency. If it is it depends. Like, if it's a red light, we're gonna get him or her up pretty quickly. If it's a medical diversion, why involve the captain? Right? Medical diversions have a hierarchy, right? We have certain ones we will divert for right away. Other ones we do other things, call doctors and make sure what's going on. Um, but it depends on the emergency. Most captains say, if it's a red light's flashing, wake me up. If it's a medical diversion, not necessary. Why'd you move from the Airbus 777? I wanted something different, Mr. Booth. Here's here's the real reason why. I wanted to fly the 777, or I wanted to fly a wide body before I was 60 years old. I didn't want to be, and nothing wrong with this, but I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to be a pilot that flew narrow body all the way up until they can hold wide body captain. And here I am trying to figure out how to fly this new airplane and go across an ocean at 62 years old. I want to do it now, experience it now, so that by the time I do it as a captain, I'm a lot more experienced. Because flying long haul is very different than flying narrow body. Have you ever run into Noel Phillips? I have not. As far as travel vloggers, I really just watch Noel. Noel's the one I really watch as a travel vlogger. Most of my YouTube is car and tech YouTube. How do flight benefits work at Kirkland Airlines? My wife and kids get unlimited flight benefits. They can fly whenever they want to for free on my airline, or any flight on my airline metal or our regional partner metal. If they want to fly on Southwest Airlines, it's a Z Pass, and they pay a small fee. What percentage of your pilots at your airline would you guess are male versus female? I have no idea. Probably 95% male. Have you ever had or like North Carolina barbecue? I have not. I think they use vinegar in their barbecue sauce. That's kind of gross. Darren, thanks for this content. At my age of 41, you inspired me to start this career I always wanted. Reason I didn't start sooner is because I barely got my green card. Not 41. I got $80,000 cash for training. Red Dragon. First, awesome. Here's what I would do. I would personally, I would put your $80,000 into like a high yield savings account. Like, no, I use Wealthfront. It pays 4%. Then I would get a loan for your flight training. Okay. Use your $80,000 to pay back the loan while you're in training. Your minimum monthly payments, right? That way you don't go cash poor. In case you need extra cash at the end of training, you have the cash in $8,000. You finish training, and then you still have this $8,000 cash here, right? And you've been using it to pay off your loan. But if you need to use it to survive a little bit, you can. Just an idea. I'm flying on your airline at the end of the month at Phoenix. The only thing I don't like about Phoenix Airport is the gates are too close to one another. Do you think the gates at Phoenix are too tight? I do. It's a very narrow concourse. Do you ever fly Captain Steve? I do not. Are you going to bid Airbus Captain? A couple of years. If you want to buy a national ticket instead of non-rev, do I get a discount? Mr. Freeman, great question. Yes. We get a pretty good discount. We're going on vacation this month and going on a cruise. And with cruises, you don't mess around with non-rev. So we bought tickets on my airline at a pretty good discount. Hey, they're great videos. If you don't mind the question, did you have any failures in flight training? Yes. No, not training. But I failed later on in life. That sounds weird. But Mr. Jeremy, the most common failures as a pilot are private, CFI, private and CFI are the most common failures. I didn't fail none of those. I failed on an aircraft I've been flying for 3 years. I failed on the Embraer 145, my ATP check ride. And the reason I failed was I had stuff going on outside the flight deck, and I was stressed about it, and I was not studying, and I should not have taken a check ride at all. But I did, and I failed, and I had to tell that story every time I interview anywhere for the rest of my career. Are Dallas drivers crazier compared to other states I've driven in? No, Florida's worse. I noticed on your last flight you rest twice. Why not pilots just take 1 6-hour break instead of 2 3-hour breaks? Ben, good question. I have done the 6-hour break thing before. I had a 4-person crew to Amsterdam. It wasn't supposed to be 4-person, but it was just for a different reason. And we decided to do half and half. It's a long half. 6 hours is a long time. I know I've done transcons in the Airbus 6 hours. I get it. But most people like to have shorter breaks. It goes by much faster. La 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 la. Some of the big national flight schools advertise having airline hiring partnerships. Do you think this provides an actual advantage in getting hired? Mr. Starkey, it does when times are bad. So if hiring slows down at regionals, it could be an advantage having an alliance. Now, how big of an advantage? But that's the only time I see it being an advantage is when hiring slows down and gets more competitive. Airplane at the Smithsonian was my favorite, my space shuttle. Just couldn't get over looking at a real SR-71. Yes. No, for me, it was the space shuttle. But Darren, current first officer PSA on the 700 based in Charlotte. It's a cluster here. Hey, Annifield, you must be new. I hate Charlotte. I flew the Airbus for 5 years. I flew to Charlotte a lot. My last flight on the Airbus was Charlotte to Dallas. And I was so happy to leave. And I'm so happy I have not been to Charlotte in almost a year. The only redeeming qualities I like about the Charlotte airport are the shoe shines. They are exquisite. Darren, I was shocked to hear that Kirkland on Rev priority is based off check-in time because my time interning at Blue Airline is based off seniority. And it makes intern much harder. It does. Mr. Sylvester, I loved time at check-in. I think it's only where I work. I think Southwest and JetBlue are time of check-in. Seniority-based non-rev is horrible in my opinion because you think, people say, oh, when you have a seniority, you can go somewhere. And what I'm talking about is, let's pretend you were hired yesterday at my airline. I was hired 7 years ago. We're in Honolulu, Hawaii, trying to go home to Dallas. You've been there since 6 in the morning and have been bumped off every single flight. I'm with my family. I'm like, guys, let's go home early. You're supposed to go home tomorrow. We'll go home today. And we show up at the airport an hour before departure. And there's 4 open seats. And you've been there all day. But because it's seniority based, I go ahead of you. That's crappy. Versus time of check-in is different. With time of check-in non-rev, you were hired yesterday. You checked in for the 6 a.m. flight 24 hours ago at 6 a.m. yesterday. You didn't get on. I checked in for the 8 p.m. flight. All day long, you wait. You couldn't get a seat. But here's the 8 o'clock flight, and there's 4 open seats. And it's you and your family of 4, and me and my family of 4. Well, I checked in at 8 p.m. 24 hours prior. You did 6 a.m. 24 hours prior. You've been waiting all day long. You get even though you were hired yesterday, you get the seats. That's a lot more fair. Is Capitol Lounge at DFW the nicest I've been in? Yes. I like the Capitol Lounge. Hope your wife's recent trip for work was successful. Yeah, so she's a DNA scientist, and all she does is testify on the facts. She hated doing it because she hates traveling, but she never finds out if the person was convicted or not. Do you still talk to Ben and Morgan? I do, Mr. Blacksmith. Hey, I recognize your name. So for Morgan is at Southwest, Ben's at United. We have a WhatsApp group that we're all in. So in this WhatsApp group, it's not just Ben and Morgan. It's Ben, Morgan, Andrea, Rob, and one more person, Chris. Yeah, Chris is at Pinnacle. Well, Chris is at Delta Regional. Yeah. Rob is at United. Andrew is at United. Ben's at United, and Morgan at Southwest. We talk every now and then. Noob, I'm 39. Dad's CFI is Mooney Eagle. Any chance I get all the certs within 2 years to get to regional? Absolutely, you can get all your certs within a year, dude. Heck yeah. Well, you need your hours though. So if you can get all your certs probably within 6, 7 months, and then fly your rear end off. How much can you fly? You think the U.S. airlines will help pay for flight school like British Airways do? I think in like 10 years or so. Darren, I went to 141, got all my ratings. Now I'm in MEI. No places are hiring CFI. My buddies are at men's, aren't getting hired. Any advice? Mr. Nobes, we are in what we call a trough right now in hiring. So the last year or so, no one got hired for a while, right? You know, for a little while, if you were a CFI, you would come home and do your logbook. You get to 1,500 hours, and then suddenly your email's blowing up. Your phone's blowing up. They're offering you a $100,000 sign-on bonus. Come to their regional. Times were good. Then the Boeing issue, the Airbus, the Pratt and Whitney engine issues, delays at majors, slowed down hiring. Now the majors are overstaffed. And so the regionals were like, well, you guys aren't leaving anymore to go to the majors. So we don't need to hire so many people anymore. And then some of the regional folks started going to the Spirits and the Frontiers of the world or to the cargo. But fewer people are leaving the regionals. Therefore, the regionals are hiring fewer people. Now, hiring has restarted. But here's the issue. For the last 9 months to a year, all of those CFIs that were getting the 1,500 hours are like, yeah, I'm still here. So the competition is much stronger than it used to be. So it used to be if you had 1,500 hours, you could fog a mirror, pretty good check ride history, could carry on a conversation in an interview, they'd hire you. Now they're being a lot more selective. How long will it last? Good question. I know my airline's hiring. They're hiring 30, 40 every 2 weeks. So, yeah. Hey, from GKY. That's my old flight school. I'm sure you know that. ATP, any tips for CFI? Also, what's the best way to time build other than instructing? Mr. Prado. So, for CFI, it's a rodeo, dude. CFI is the most difficult rating I've ever had because it's so, especially not just the rate, not just the rated, the stupid writtens were hard, so abstract. And then even the check ride it was difficult. It was. As far as time building, um, if you don't want a CFI, save your money and don't get your CFI ratings. You can go buy block time, split time with a buddy. You know, if you're pretty lightweight, if you're pretty small in stature, meaning you can fit in a 152, and your buddy's pretty small in stature, go in at 152 and fly, fly, fly. The problem is when you have 250 hours, no one trusts you. My kid will be 15 here soon. She will not be driving my 850 horsepower SUV by herself, even when she's 16. Oh, thank you. You have to prove yourself worthy, right? But it's hard. You know, as a when she turns 16, I can monitor her driving. Doesn't cost me very much to drive around with her, right? But when you're a new pilot at 250 hours, you haven't proven yourself, right? And it's hard to prove yourself. The traditional route is to be a CFI. Even though you are a commercial pilot, very few companies are going to be like, "Hey, buddy, here are the keys to the airplane. Go fly up." So it's very hard. Hey, what's your background? Is my background in journalism? It is. I got my BJ at University of Missouri, then flew the Air Force at the end of NOM back in to 135. My two daughters now fly with the same carrier. My parents passes on two carriers. See what my background is in journalism. I got a degree in journalism with the intent of being a high school teacher. There's a woman in my life. Her name is Miss Nancy Easterling. She's an amazing woman. She was my newspaper teacher when I was in ninth grade in 1993 or 1993 or two, and she helped mold me into the person I am today. She's an amazing woman. I'm friends with her today on Facebook. I graduated high school in 1995 before most of you were born, and this woman, she's such an amazing woman that I'm friends with her today on Facebook. And so when I was 18 years old, I'm like, I want to be like Miss Easterling. So I went to school to be, I see you over there, kiddo. I went to school to get my degree in journalism with the intent of teaching high school newspaper and yearbook. I was interning in East Texas, and I realized these kids are crazy. I don't want to teach, and so I didn't end up using my degree. Does seniority tend to be higher in 777 or 787? 787, just because it has more destinations. Darren, you're the best. Had a DUI at 27 years old. I'm 41 now, about to start training. The DUI has been expunged. I also disclosed it in my first class medical, and they approved me. You think I would be an issue? Red Dragon, no. That's an explainer. It's an explainer. But and the biggest thing, as you know, is time. It's been 14 years. You've been a clean driving record, right? So if you want to go through this whole flying thing, absolutely do it. But like, be on your A+ game. Seatbelt everywhere you go. Right hand lane on every single highway. Don't speed. You stop every stop sign. You rock back. Be a model citizen. I'm sure you are anyway. But don't have any other reason to have to explain something to an airline interviewer. But you have to tell the story. You own it. You screwed up, but you've been fine since. Yes, kiddo. You have a question? Huh? No. Is flying for LCC different than flying for Legacy? Yeah, from what I hear, I've never flown for an LCC. But again, if I want to tonight, I can go to the airport and non-rev my own airline to London, Brazil, Incheon, Australia, Munich, Canada, Hawaii, anywhere. Versus LCC, you don't have those opportunities. And then the structure and capacity of the airline is bigger. As far as the tools we have, I've talked to my friends at Spirit and Frontier, and they are great airlines. I'm not knocking them at all, but the tools I have are superior as far as the in-flight information, and our apps for the airline are superior to the tools they have because we are a much bigger airline. They're starting instrument next week. Thanks for your encouragement, Mr. Camacho. Have fun with your instrument. When you're under that hood, don't be under that hood for like more than half an hour at a time. You'll go brain fried. And after you're under that hood for half an hour, you will be brain fried. Absolutely. Just expect that. For nearby pilots, are shorter flights or transcontinental flights more desirable? One man's trash, another man's treasure. When I was on the Airbus, I liked having 2 flights per day. My perfect schedule, I had it for a while, was Dallas to Phoenix, Phoenix to Philly, done. Philly to Aruba, done. Aruba to Charlotte, and then Charlotte to Dallas, and done. That paid about, I think it was like an 18-hour, 3-day trip. It's pretty good. Have a 3-hour layover at the Terminal D tomorrow. Should I be on the lookout for First Officer Bird? I am off. I am not shaving. I am on vacation for a long time. This beard, when you see this beard go away on my videos, you know I'm getting ready to fly again. Glad I finally made a live chat. Thanks for the videos showing me the wide body life at DFW. I love my airline Airbus, but can't wait to try wide body before upgrading. Yes, thank you, Mr. Wally. I'm glad your airline is hiring. They are hiring. By the way, we still have Mr. Weems and Mr. Strange. I had Mr. Weems and I had KB. KB passed away. But good old Mr. Weems. All right, Darren. Now, when you go out for the ride today, make sure that windshield's nice and clean. Make sure that windshield's clean. I don't want to see no bugs in that windshield now, all right, Darren? Okay. All right, let's go fly. Hey there, just want to say hi. Love your glasses collection. How many glasses do you own, and how do you decide which ones to wear? Axum Jacks, Mr. Hutchinson. I have too many pairs of glasses. I have about 50 pair of my current prescription. I used to have more than double that, but now I wear bifocals, so I have about 50 pair. And for like this pair here, I could wear to work. This pair, I have 2 of the same pair up here. That's funny. One is bifocal, one is not. But like this pair here, I will not wear to work. These are the different shape glasses. I won't wear that pair to work. When I go to work, I wear business style ish glasses. They might have a little color, but nothing crazy. How long would it take to as a new hire to be on 787 FO? Depending if you're in Philly or New York, like 4 years. What plane would be the best to build hours in? To be more competitive against other applicants going into a regional. Mr. Prince, the cheapest, safest plane you can fly. The cheapest, safest plane you can fly. To be competitive at a regional, it doesn't matter what you're flying. What do you bring to the table, right? What What else makes you special versus the guy next to you or the woman next to you, right? Maybe you again, it's just like going to a major. Maybe you volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. Maybe you volunteer with OBAP ACE Academies. Maybe you volunteer at your church if you're into that kind of thing. Almost done with the live. Original versus LCC is a new FO. This airline career, it's like a choose your own adventure book. And you will never know if you made all the right choices until the day you retire. Like, right, I told that story a few times. I learned to fly with three other gentlemen. Okay, three other guys, all younger than me. They're all at least 8 to 9 years younger than me. 7 to 8 years younger than me. They're younger. They're younger than me. When I had my regional, I was the only person that was married. I was the only person married, and then I had the first kid. My kid was born. My oldest was born 3 years after I started flying for a regional. They didn't have none of them had kids yet. Not a single one. The oldest kid in the group is 4. Um, 5, 5. Besides my kids. My point being, when I first had my first regional, I'm flying, just doing my gig, and they're going out not hustling, networking. They're going to job fairs. They're volunteering with OBAP. They're volunteering with other organizations with aviation. They won scholarships for type ratings while they were RJFOs. After 5 years, 2 of those guys went up to Delta. They went from the right seat of a CRJ 200 to Delta Airlines. The other gentleman upgraded captain on the Q400 at used to be Republic, but they don't have them anymore. But he upgraded to captain at the regional, went to JetBlue. Okay, I was still in the right seat of a 145. Here we are, 7 years, and I realized I need to do what they did. So then I started not hustling, networking, volunteering, and taking control of my career is a better word. I started taking control of my career. They offered this whole time, when we were all at regionals, they offered, hey, Darren, come with us to these events. I'm like, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. My whole point of the story is, so far, they are way ahead. The 2 men at Delta, one is a 7576 captain, one is a 73 check airman. The gentleman at JetBlue was a 190 check airman. He is now a Airbus captain. I could be a captain now, but again, they're already at 10 years plus at their legacies, and I'm just at 7. And so far they're winning, but who knows? I still have 17 years to pass them up. But my whole point of this advice is, after your first year at a regional, your primary job is not flying for that regional anymore. If that's not where you want to be, your primary job is getting to where you want to be. Currently at the DW airport, hoping to run into you someday. Someday. When building 50 hours cross-country time before instant rating, do you recommend a new airport every flight to help sharpen skills? Be good all if you can, but don't do it if it's gonna, one, has landing fees, or two, if it's gonna waste a lot of fuel getting there. And thank you for your support, by the way. Best thing to see if I can do at home every day to improve skills. Reflect on what you taught and refine your teaching style, and ask your students, like, you have, like, my students, I'm still friends with all my students. I'm still in contact with, actually. Some of them are at this airline. One of my own old students is a check airman on the Airbus. He's way senior to me. Anyway, if you can get to know your students really well, to the point where we can just talk to them and get honest feedback, like, hey, yesterday we talked about this. Tell me what you learned yesterday, and see if you can pull out of them what you try to teach them. And say, hey, you know what, dude? Yeah, we didn't get crap you taught us yesterday. Yeah, I went home and read the book. I still don't understand it. Then learning did not occur, right? So always look to refine your teaching skills and understand that every student learns differently. And the other part of your question was, ATC skills is just practice. It's almost always mimicking. They tell DW ground flight 244 spot 135 with kilo. I'm expecting them to say, based on the runway direction, flight whatever 235, 17 right bridge. Wait, 17 right bridge. So I know it's almost always mimicking and having a little bit of expectation bias about what they're going to say. So you know what to say back to them. And if you are ever in confusion or not clear on what was said, ask again. It is better to ask again for clarification now than to be typing or writing a report later on about why it screwed up. 12,000 hours flight time. Every now and then, I don't hear the radio call correctly. Or you know what? Busy flight deck. I heard clear to flight level 250. Captain didn't hear it. All right. I know I heard it correctly. It costs nothing. And so just to be clear, we are clear flight level 250. Clear flight level 250. Great. We both heard it again. Flight level 250. Do you make an annual pay summary videos? I do, Jeremy. I made one back in January covering my last year's pay. Darren's crazy to try and get into aviation with the goal of only being hubbed out of a certain region. No, the goal being based in Newark. Newark is easy, dude. Mr. Sylvester, the New York area is junior. Easy. Easy. Lots of tolls up there, as you know. Lots of tolls on those roads y'all got. It gets cold. You have to like shovel snow and stuff. But Newark is easy. Super easy. Super easy. Now, if you said something like Charlotte, what else is kind of hard? Places that are really nice to live. Not that Newark's not nice, but some places can be hard to do. It can be more senior, but New York area is very junior. Hi, Ethan. I had Mr. Williams for every ride. Spot on and refreshing. Thank you. At what seniority do pilots on reserve not get the call very often? It depends on the day and the fleet and reserves that day. There's not a certain point. The most senior pilot can be called on a bad weather day, you're all getting called. House me filed the same. Oh wait, commercial check ride on Wednesday. Omar, I hated my commercial single and check ride. I hated Chandel's and Lazy Eights. Good luck to you, buddy. I'll give you some knuckles though next week. House me filed the same captain on the 777. Pretty rarely. Hey Darren, do you have recommendations for acing the airline interview? Pay for airline interview prep. Spitfire Aviation, like Spitfire Aviation Consulting. Darren, what was your most stressful flight? Had LGT Rhyme plus IMC and a similar yesterday. Most stressful flight. Probably almost ran out of gas on the 145. Darren, I'm a Canadian student. Does seniority pay continue or restart when you change airplanes? Nope. My seniority only goes up. Change airplanes, change seats. Only goes up or stays the same. And I miss my Tim Hortons. Best way to learn about a regional and its culture so you can make an educated choice and nail the interview. Mr. Wilkins, unfortunately, it's the toxic airline pilot forums and job fairs, and talk to the recruiters. Because the people at the recruiting station, they are the best and the nicest people in the world, but you can get an idea how they present themselves. Because if the airline is sending those people and they're crappy, do airlines hire FFDOs or do they hire them? I don't talk about FFDO stuff. That's security. Why did I become a pilot? Because I like airplanes and computers. That's it. I like airplanes and computers. I like going to work and then using these hands to control a machine and fly around the world. How senior is DW? It's pretty senior. You can get within a year or two. San Francisco and Houston can get, very good. San Francisco and Houston, very senior at United. Darren, do you have any resume boosters for military pilots to get straight light edge on your very similar experience that you've seen or heard? I guess things to aim for before we get out. Corey Scott, RTAG. I'm a civilian, Mr. Scott. RTAG is made for people like you. RTAG. And then also I would look at Spitfire Aviation. Especially if you're a pilot in the military, you can probably skip the regionals. Spitfire Aviation can absolutely help you. How often do you fly to the Bahamas? Very rarely now on the 777. Never. On the Airbus, Bahamas not very common, but other islands quite a bit. Is there a cost living adjustment and pay? Negative. We are union pilots. We all get paid the same. You'll never fly the 737? Never, ever, ever. Yet all your green screens are 737. No name, I know. See, here's the problem. It's hard getting like the content people I pay for. This stuff behind me, they only have narrow bodies in their hangars. I need to find a wide body, but I don't want to use real airline logos for many reasons. And I try to use AI to make airplanes, and they look stupid. So, yeah. Do you know who Jeff Kinzer is? A check airman 737 for American. Had him for my commercial check ride. I do not know him. Last one will be G Nobes, and I gotta go. It's possible to skip RJ from ATP men's or go a little more to to legacy. Anything is possible, Mr. Nobes, and I'm being very serious. It's not very likely though. Here's the reason. For a while, Spirit and Frontier were hiring people from an RJ straight to an Airbus. Reason being, they had problems getting pilots. Supply and demand. American, Delta, United, Southwest, they want to make sure you can pass a type rating. They want to make sure you aren't going to be a screw up. They want to make sure that by hiring you, you'll make it to the end. And all you have is a Seminole training. Versus regionals, they want the same thing, but they can't be as selective, right? They say, well, it's hard to find pilots that are that are at $1,500 that have jet time and type ratings, right? So regionals can have to be a little bit more. They have the same goals as American, Southwest, Delta, United, but they have to be a little bit more willing to take you in and give you training, because type ratings aren't cheap. It used to be $25,000 to $30,000. How much it costs to train a pilot from zero through a full type rating. $30,000 they're investing in you, and you have not earned them a single penny. They're spending $30,000 on you, and you haven't earned them a penny yet. See? So, I was trying to ask if your airline has FFDOs in general, but I'm a federal law enforcement officer. I was wondering how that process works. I don't talk about FFDOs at all. You can Google FFDO stuff, but I don't talk about FFDOs at all. I fly with pilots that used to be cops. Can you stay at regional until you desire time to be a major? Yes. How do you spend time with your wife while time bill is the CFI? Because I was a CFI here in Dallas, so it's easy. Mr. Nobes, you're very welcome. And everyone else, thank you for your support. If you don't know who I am, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. I do lives randomly. So click the notification bell to know when I go live. Subscribe to my content if you don't mind. It doesn't cost you nothing. It's free to click the little button if you just not already clicked for you. If you have a question, drop them in the comments. I do respond to every comment. I really, really do. If you don't want to put a comment, you have a question, go over to Instagram. You can message me there. You don't want to go to Instagram? The last way you can figure out how to get a hold of me is just my name, Darren@darrenbird.com. Have a great day, and as always, thank you for stopping by.